There's only one religion that tells you you have to love your enemies, you have to love your neighbor, and you have to forgive. There's only one religion that says that. There's only one religion that says that. It's Christianity. People are always giving Christians a hard time. People are embarrassed to be Christians, and that's sad. It's sad, bro. When I was talking to a lady today, she said, "Oh, she was like, yo, I can't love Trump," and I was like, and I got to the point I asked her, I said, "Do you love everybody?" And she's like, "No, I don't really love everybody." I'm like, "How can you love some but not all?" Then she was like, if you were molested, and she got really in detail with it. She was like, "Oh, if you were molested and you got boinked in your boinker and thrown out with like blood everywhere," so she was being really like, she gave me like the hardest scenario you got, you know, gave me this hard scenario. And I said, even with that, I'm not saying you have to forgive them instantly, but what benefit and how does it help you if you don't forgive them? What does being angry at them do to them? It doesn't hurt them. It only hurts you. And like I said, our religion is the only religion that says, yo, you gotta forgive. You have to love your enemy. That's what we're told. We're told to love our enemy. We're told to love our enemy. That's what we're supposed to do. So if you're mad at your parents, you hate your mommy, can't stand your daddy, can't stand your daddy, you can't stand your daddy. If you can't stand your daddy, you need to let that go. You need to drop the anger and forgive. It took me a long time to get there. Like, yo, this anger and this resentment, and they owe me, and oh, they could have did better. No, you gotta. Yo, they did the best they could. They did the best they could. Even if you don't feel like they did, they did. The same way they can't. The same way you can't help yourself is the same way they can't help themselves. How come you do the things you do? Can't help yourself. Can't help yourself. You're driven by a certain. You're driven by a certain thing. You're either driven by God or you're not. You're either driven by God or you're not. So you can't be playing the fence and being like, oh, I try to be good sometimes. No person is good. No, nobody's good. Nobody's good. Even those people who quote the Bible up and down, they know Genesis to Revelations. They know it all in the name of Jesus. They know it. They know it. They can quote it, and they're the worst people. They have anger. They don't forgive nobody. If you don't forgive your parents, honor your mother and father, you won't have a long life. You won't have a long life. And it's gonna be miserable. It's gonna be miserable. They did the best they could. I'll look back and I'm like, dang, my parents were my age now when they had me, and younger. So I just be looking at the things I'll be doing. I was like, wow, think I ain't got no kids. Think I got no kids. Cause it'll be dysfunctional. It'll just be a mess. It'll be a huge mess. And the kids will be okay. The kids will be fine. The kids will be fine, but it's just gonna be like I'm learning, they're learning, we're all learning at the same time, and it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And and when they would come to me in the future, they would be like, "Oh, Dad, you did this and that and that and that. You were doing this and that." And I was like, "Yo, I couldn't help myself. I was learning as I went." So we gotta use that same ruler of judgment that we put on our parents. If we can't forgive our parents, we will never be able to ever, ever, ever be able to even. We'll have no way of even knowing ourselves because we would have anger. We'll always have anger. If you can't forgive that rapist. I know that's hard. Forgive that person who killed your cousin. I know that's hard. That's hard. It took me a long time to forgive, and anger still arises in me. It's still when it comes up, I let it pass. When those emotions come, I let it pass. When people start saying, "Oh, it's a black thing. He did it because he was black. He did it because he was white. He did it because he was red." and the other guy was yellow. It's a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual battle. These are your people. Are they your kind? We look the same. We have a similar backstory. We had a similar upbringing. We talk the same, but that doesn't mean they're for you. That doesn't mean they're your kind. They just look like you. They talk like you. They understand your backstory, but they're not for you. You gotta look past the skin. You gotta look past the skin. That's why I don't believe in racism. I don't think racism exists. It's either hate or love. It's either hate or love. Hate or love. Hate or love. Do you love everyone? Do you hate everyone? Because you can't be like, oh, I love my kids. I love them. I love my girl. I love my mama. I love my daddy. But I don't love them. I don't love them. Then that's not love. And it's not sexual, emotional love. It's dispassionate love. It's not a feeling. There's not conditions to the love. You just love because that's what God put you on the earth for. He put you on the earth to be a normal person. To be a normal person is to go through life, face the challenges without blaming, crying, or complaining. That's how you be a normal person. You go through the challenges of life, you face the challenges of life without blaming, whining, and complaining. And there's never a reason to be angry. There's never a reason. They stepped on your shoe, they don't stepped on my Nikes. They don't stepped on my Adidas. They don't stepped on my Pumas, cuz they don't stepped on my Fubu's. They stepped on my Fubu's. Ain't no reason to be angry. Ain't no reason to be angry. Once you, I was texting a girl on the internet, and she was like, "Yo, that could never be me." And it was a girl who did something. I'm like, "Yo, you're one bad day away from that." She's like, "No, I could never do that." I'm like, "Yo, with that thinking, it could never be me. I could never be caught. I'm too smart." That in itself is just a an error in thinking, a cognitive fallacy. That's what that is, a cognitive fallacy. Hey, trust God. Don't be trusting these people.